What's up guys, I'm Redken's Global Artistic Ambassador, Maggie Perry, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to create this beautiful, seamless blonde on super thick hair. This is an amazing class and I can't wait to dive in. Okay, today we're doing my new assistant Lainey's hair. She was late today and she gets rewarded with hair color. Look at this gorgeous virgin hair. Oh my goodness. So what are we gonna do today?
Blonde.
I don't wanna get rid of all of her natural hair color because it's really pretty. So I don't wanna like full max her blonde. I wanna do something a little bit more dimensional. So today we're gonna do a dimensional air touch on her with a really thin face frame. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. Let's get started. Okay, let's get into our sectioning. I'm gonna comb her hair straight back, find that point of recession and brush down. And then I'm going to section out her money piece, about a ½ inch thick. Same thing on the other side, combing back, finding that point of recession. I can't believe this is happening, Lainey.
I know, I'm so excited.
Then we're going to do the pieces by her ears, going into the corner up here of her money piece and then dragging down to the ear. So there we have our face frame. We're gonna do a Mohawk section just outside the corners of that money piece in the front, cutting off at the round of her head. And then from the corner of the Mohawk section down to behind her ear, our side piece. And I'm gonna part straight down the middle to create two basic back sections. Face frame, Mohawk section, two side sections, and two back sections. So let's get into the application and what we're gonna use on her hair. All right, guys, so the star of the show today is Redken Blonde IQ 9+. I'm gonna be using that with 20 volume at a 1 to 1.5 ratio. This lightener is so delicious. Look at this, it's like blueberry yogurt. She's smooth, she's gorgeous. She keeps the hair in amazing shape and she's really easy to apply. This is my favorite lightener ever, 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 ever. Let's get started. I am going to take diagonal back sections. We're gonna take thicker pieces too because I wanna maintain a lot of dimension in her hair. We're not trying to get rid of her natural. We're not trying to make her an all over super blonde. So we have to be very intentional with how we approach this. I'm gonna take her hair and I'm gonna comb it first. That is always key when you're doing air touch. And I want a lot of dimension, so I'm going to hold the hair low down, place my blow dryer at the base of her hair before turning it on. Turn it on. And push out a lot of dimension. So this will be all of our dimension here. And this will be our blonde piece. And if you hold it up like this, you can see that the dimension will end right about here because that's where those tips are. So all of her ends will be nice and bright, but she'll have dimension throughout a lot of her mids. Fold my foil, place my board underneath, grab the board with my left hand, bring my right hand underneath, grab all this hair close to the base, and push my board to the scalp. And I'm gonna take my lightener and apply all the way up to the top and fully saturate through. Folding once and twice, and then closing in those sides. Boom. She's gonna need to put these foils on here for me. It's my assistant. I don't have an assistant now because she's getting her hair done. We're gonna continue that. Diagonal back I tried to tell her that we should do pink and she like froze. She said no.
No, I said, what?
He said, what? Yeah, 1/2 inch thick section, comb through, placing my blow dryer on top. The goal is, while you're doing this, that all of your dropout pieces are the same length and you don't have any random long pieces. That's how you know that you're staying consistent with your air touch pattern. Placing my board underneath, grabbing with my left hand, reaching under with my right, and pushing against the scalp. Don't pull on the hair too much. You want to have a little bit of tension, but when you have too much, that's when the foils will slip and it will push the lightener out. So don't pull too hard. Applying close. Dragging down and saturating the ends. This is all about repetition. The more that you do this, the more that your hands and your body will get used to it. At first, it will feel awkward. You might feel like you can't do it, but you really just have to do it over and over again, and then it will become very easy for you. It's all about practice. Closing in. I'll show you guys one more time, and then I'll speed through this. It's just the same thing over and over again. Place the board underneath, grab with your left, grab the hair underneath with your right hand, and push. Get those ends nice and saturated. Okay, team, I'm gonna do that over and 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 over again, and then I'll bring you back for what I'm gonna do at the top here. All right, both of the back sections are almost done. What I did was I cut off the top triangle of both sections, just like this. And I'm gonna combine both of those triangles into one. And I'm gonna start foiling horizontal straight across. I don't like to keep working and do little tiny foils. I don't like the way that they process. I would rather combine the two sections and start doing it horizontal. So this is our first one. Same thing. This is a good quick tip. Hold the hair up to get your saturation. You want to do it as fast as you can because everything adds up. So if you hold the hair up, get your brush through the hair and pull all the way through. That's going to get lightener all the way through the strand and help you saturate much more quickly. Taking it to the top, bringing up those ends, fold once and twice, close up the sides, bam. And we're gonna keep doing that all the way up this little section, and then I'll bring you back for what I'm gonna do next. Okay guys, we finished the back. I actually did that kind of fast. Whatever. Now we're gonna move on to the front and we're gonna do her face framing. I want her to have brightness around her face. So I'm gonna go in parallel to her face. Thin sections, holding higher up. So less dropout, thinner pieces, closer together. Look down. This is gonna give us more brightness and less dimension than what we were doing in the back, so that she can have a nice pop of brightness around her face. Perfect. And then again, nice thin section. Combing through, holding in the mids. You want to watch your saturation on these smaller sections, especially when you're doing a big transformation. Make sure that it's translucent, you're not oversaturating. These pieces always lift really, really nice. We don't want them to lift overly white, so keep it nice and sheer and consistent. Again, nice and thin. And we're gonna work our way up, repeating this over and over. All right, guys, we finished up the sides and now we're gonna move on to her face framing. So come on over, check it out. So I am going to take a small section here, blow dry down the small pieces. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this top section and I'm gonna clip it back. And then I'm gonna take this bottom one, hold it up high, and blow dry down all those little pieces. Don't wanna lighten those. And I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna lighten this underneath section. So you're doing both pieces of your air touch. It's like doing 2 back-to-back slices, but I find it's more diffused because of the air touch in the middle. And then I'm gonna bring this top piece down, and that's gonna give us a nice bright piece, but still diffused and still skinny. Perfect. And now we're gonna go behind it and do thin sections just like by the ears, and do back-to-back slices, not incorporating that underneath, only on that first one. If you want the face frame to be thicker, you can repeat that same process again. But I want it to be subtle. We're gonna do that same thing on the other side, and then I'll bring you back for the next step. All right, guys, we finished the face frame. It's been about an hour since these back foils have been in, so let's check them and see where they're at, because at this point, especially if you're doing a lot of foils and you're pulling the lightener all the way through, it's probably better to rinse out the back before you continue doing the front, because we don't want to overlift. Okay, this is what we're working with. It does look like she has some color in her ends. Her hair is doing great though. It feels really good, so that's good. We'll probably have to lighten this again. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull all of her hair, her natural hair in between to the side, so that I can make sure that these blonde pieces are isolated, so I can relighten them easier. Since it's air touch, you could blow dry everything down, but I want to be able to do it wet so that it's faster. So I'm just going to section out all of her natural hair in between, and then I'm going to pull the foils and rinse it. I'll bring you guys back and show you what kind of lift we're working with. Okay, class, so we're gonna talk about that later.
We'll come back to that.
Her hair feels great, so that's a plus. We also just ordered Taco Bells because we're gonna be here. Live Mas.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, unfortunately. So let's move on to the sides and we'll think about the tone later. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off this section right here above the ear, and I'm gonna frame the ear kind of like a money piece. I want that to be a bold piece so that when she pulls it up, she has a nice bright piece right there. It's gonna finish off that money piece going around. So I'm gonna take a thicker section, blow dry down a little bit of dimension. And then after that, we're gonna start doing exactly what we did in the back, working at a diagonal back, taking 1/2 inch thick sections, and we're gonna blow dry down a lot of dimension, and we're gonna move our way up, diagonal back, all the way through this section. So again, comb it through, hold the hair down low, blow dry out lots of dimension, place the board underneath, and saturate through. And we are gonna repeat that over and over and over and over again, and I'll bring you back to show you the final section. All right guys, so what I'm doing is I'm going in with Blonde IQ 9+ and 20 volume at a 1:2 ratio. We're going in on damp hair in big sections, and I am re-lightening the mids and the ends to see what we can get. Okay team, we are on our final section, the Mohawk section. And what we're gonna do for this is take a little bit thinner sections now that we're at the top, and we're still gonna blow down a lot of dimension, and we're gonna work our way horizontally all the way across uniformly throughout this whole top section. Blow drying down. It's important in this section to not try to push the lightener too close. I find that when you're doing really packed foils like this, especially in this back mohawk area, if you try and take the lightener too close, the pressure is going to push it and you're gonna get bleeders. So take it from me. Keep the lightener a little bit further away from the base of that foil when you're working in this back part. I'm gonna keep doing this all the way through, over and over, and that will be our final foils. I'm so excited. We are gonna start working from the front now. I wiped out her front foils and they're giving lift. So I'm gonna start working from the front now because I am far too short to continue working from the back. I like to split the sections up anyways. I feel like it distributes the heat more evenly so it's not all packed on top of each other. So we're gonna keep doing the same thing, just working our way through this section, now coming from the front. We kept all of the in-between hair separated so that we could come back in and re-lighten this. So I'm gonna go back in with Blonde IQ and 20 volume, and we're gonna boost this one more time, and that will be our final lift. Whatever she gives is what it's gonna be, but I think it's gonna lift really nice. I'm gonna just apply this all over to these pieces, protecting it with some foil, thick sections to maintain the integrity. We'll let that sit for about 15 minutes and she will be done with the lightening process. This is her completely raw lift. She lost not a single hair. The blend is absolutely beautiful, but we're working with a lot of yellow, although I would say that it actually looks pretty good. So let's get into what we're going to tone with. So for her root, I'm using 30 grams of 7N with 5 grams of 7G. The reason that I'm adding some gold to this formula at the top is because this part lifted higher and I want to maintain the brightness. I don't want it to be overly toned, so I want to preserve some of that warmth up here at the top. Also, I'm using the gloss to gel for her root. That's going to give me more control with the color, make it a little bit thicker. I always use this for my root colors. For her ends, we're going to use 10 NV. I don't want to use a 9 because I don't want to overtone it. I like the gold in it, but I just want to mute it a little bit with this little kick of violet. And I'm mixing that with processing solution in a bottle. So I am going to apply my ends color first. But I'm gonna section out her front pieces. If you watch my tutorials, you know I love to do this. Tone that last. Treat it as a different section to preserve the brightness. Guys, this blend is tea. I am going to start in the back. I'm gonna take thick sections. I don't need to saturate the root fully because I'm going to go back in on that root. I'm going to brush through. I'm gonna work my way through her whole head, just like this. Applying this toner all over, but leaving those front pieces out. Now we're gonna come back in and do our root. I'm gonna section the front sections away, tackle the back first. Now I'm gonna go in and apply about 2 inches at the base. Adding warmth to your root color sounds scary. I promise it's a game changer. There's nothing worse than those overtoned roots because you added ash to the formula when the base of the highlights lifted really nice. The little things. And I'm just gonna go through her whole head just like this. And I'm gonna brush it through a little bit when I work my way back up. We got the back applied. Now we're gonna move into the front. In the front, I am gonna apply this end color all the way up to the root, because it's gonna dilute that root shade just a touch.
Oh.
Applying the root on top here, just a little tap. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then we're gonna let her process for 20 minutes. And I'll bring you back for the final reveal. Okay, open.
I'm sorry, I could literally cry right now. Maggie.
Isn't it so pretty?
There's like perfect hair and then there's this.
Right.
Like this is like,
Who
it's
is she?
literally perfect. I don't know who I am. I don't know how to act. Like, oh my God, from the side?
Any way you cut it, it's absolutely perfect, blended, beautiful, gorgeous. It's one of my favorite things about AirTouch is how seamless it is on the whole head. All right, team, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was chaotic, it was fun, but the results are absolutely amazing, and I know that you will be able to execute your blondes even better after taking this class, and I can't wait to see your creations using this technique.